Good evening, all of you. Never ever faced such a human powerhouse. Parliament and courts included. My wife is a fraction of it. So for me, this is a great challenge. I know Sanjeev Puri for long. I know his namesake Sanjeev Goenka also for long. For one good reason. I had the good fortune to be Governor of State of West Bengal and see face to face women empowerment. Sanjeev Goenka is not here today. I am told he has some health issues. I am not responsible for that. In Bengal, I may have been so held accountable. I am saving. Sri Nikhil Sahni, President IMA, a gracious man, captivating human being, and therefore one has always to be on the watch out. That's the experience I have learned in Rajya Sabha. Srimati Sunita Reddy, Senior Vice President IMA. I am enamored of the entire family, the sisters. I met one of them in Kolkata, another in Assam, then Hyderabad and here. I have a daughter and we have a daughter. When our wife is around and a doctorate in academics, you have to be extra careful. For one good reason, I care for my human rights. Because you will not be around after a while and I will be escorting her to Uprashtrapati Niwas. So we have a daughter. We belong to Daughters Club. She is part of it. Sri T.V. Narendran ji, Vice President IMA. I am so glad he is Vice President. So am I. I have a great chemistry with him. He has to keep some promises. I am sure he will do it now. I think Mr. Sanjeev Puri would also do that. Sri Srinivas Dempo, immediate past President IMA. I love people who have Shri twice in their name. Because you have to be deferential to them compulsively. I am doing it out of heart. Srimati Rekha Sethi, Director General, IMA. I am grateful to former Chairman, Steel Authority of India, Sushil Lungta. I was in two minds about attending this program. Not because of IMA, but because of Model Code of Conduct. But then he persuaded me that I must get the matter a little more examined. And then I had no doubt. As a matter of fact, I was quite keen to attempt it. But then discretion is the better part of valor, particularly during Model Code of Conduct. Distinguished audience, ladies and gentlemen, I am indeed humbled to be invited for this occasion. Gratifying to be amongst industry leaders and promising professionals of Bharat at this distinguished gathering today. I am slightly disturbed and there is a seismic wave. I don't know where it is emanating from, but left to myself, Mr. Shekhar Gupta is the epicenter. IMA has emerged as a credible forum of convergence of industry captains and professionals to enhance networks of knowledge, skill, expertise, including by rendering recognition of this kind. Friends, I was greatly impressed and touched by the nomenclature of the awards. Very thoughtful, catching. IMA Managing India Awards. It indicates sweep of its activity. And this is exemplified and vindicated in action. Today is one such day. My congratulations to the awardees for well-deserved, well-earned recognition. Their success stories will inspire and motivate many and collectively work towards India's growth. If I look at the awardees, Asian Paints, a household name. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, oh my God. There was some media challenge to them. They came with sterling worth and sparkling colors. The job at their hand is in billions. Their accomplishments make us proud. A public sector of great reckoning contributing to nation building. We have Mr. Karan Johar. When we were having photograph, I was trying to locate him. My vision is all right, literal and figurative. I couldn't. He was just behind me. Then I remember that behind the man who has to be the chief guest is a great opportunity. I'll tell you why. When I was member of Lok Sabha in 1989 and was a union minister for some time, Mr. Chandrasekhar ji was Prime Minister, a great stalwart in politics, a great politician, thinker. We had to have a photograph of members of parliament. I went 15 minutes before and took the seat, which was in the second row, just behind the Prime Minister. I am not that elevated figure, but because of him, Karan Johar's presence behind me, I will be noticed. I am grateful to him. And that will make up for the loss I have suffered. I will not go in for a suit. I've been a senior advocate for a long time. I know lawyers are very expensive. Sometimes they are exploitative. No one knows more than the people here. I never had the occasion for coffee with Karan. But the awardees and IMA management is invited for lunch with the Vice President, and I happen to be in the saddle at the moment. The next, I am greatly touched by co-founders of Lyceus. I will go back and look at the lexicon to find out meaning of this word. But when both of them came, I was energized. I was impressed. They define that India is indeed a land of opportunity. They define that we have an ecosystem today that allows everyone to expend talent and energy, expand potential, realize aspirations and ambitions. What a commendable choice. Ashish Bharatnamji, when he was on the dais, I told him I'm from Rajasthan, because people from Rajasthan know Shri Ram family surely as much as others do, and little more. The family has massively contributed in several fields, including education. Transformational business leader. I looked at the nomenclature and very aptly given to one. Gopal Vittal. Only thing I whispered in his ear was, I would love to be in connect with you, because Airtel motto is to be in connect. Who doesn't know Mr. N. Ram? There was a Chief Justice in late 80s. I'll name him, Justice Venkatramaiah, a great judge. When he came to Rajasthan, I had the occasion then in 80s to be president of the bar. And Justice Venkatramaiah, the Chief Justice of India, said, while he was speaking on contempt, there is other point of view in life. You must lend your ears to that point of view. You must not be instantly judgmental about it. Don't drop that point of view with drop of a hat, because more often than not, the other point of view is the correct point of view, and the other point of view is nectar of life. And Ramji, I whispered in his ear, news is what people want to keep secret. Well, I read him. I would love to be in connect with him. Mr. Sanjeev Puri, he invited me and my wife for lunch, and that was my last month as Governor of State of West Bengal. The lunch was indeed excellent, but after taking that lunch, I had the occasion to go to Darjeeling. There was no Darjeeling Pact, which Mr. Shekhar Gupta might love to talk about, between me, Mamata Banerjee and Hemant Biswa Sharma, because I was at my place. And I always welcome guests. Shekharji, you can try. I'm from farming community. You are always welcome. And from there I came to Delhi. So after taking that lunch, I spent only few hours in Kolkata. Friends, I will not give any political dimension to it, because Mr. Sanjeev Puri is a gentleman to the knowledge of one and all. Amongst all the awardees, I know Mr. Onkar Kanwarji the longest. He doesn't grow in age. And my problem is, if you give this work to an agency, people will raise fingers. If you give it to a parliamentary committee, they may come with a report which may be baffling. I have vivid recollection of our meetings. But long back, when I was a young parliamentarian, I had connected with Ronak Singh ji also. And as a lawyer, I know Ronak Singh ji's name will be remembered for the judgment rendered by the Supreme Court, where it is indicated that interim directives can upset planning of a mega project. A warning signal, a wake-up call by the Supreme Court. I wouldn't say whether it is practiced or not. I don't get into issues that relate to judiciary. So friends, each of the awardees makes the award very special. So congratulations to the jury and the chairman of the jury, Mr. Sanjeev Goenka in absentia. These awards enhance affirmative public perception and influence. In this, I must recognize the work done by every member of the jury. Friends, it is time for all of us to reflect on the profound responsibilities while we celebrate the success stories of the awardees. Before Socrates, there was a Greek philosopher, Heraclitus. What he said, I quote, "Change is the only constant in life," unquote. Friends, we are amidst this change in its extremity and severity. The 21st century is already marked with precipitous changes, disruptive technologies, be it artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, machine learning, 6G, quantum computing and the kind. They have made inroads virtually in every facet of human activity, offering both opportunities and challenges. Friends, it is soothing to note that India is in the front line of nations in unleashing these technologies. National Quantum Mission, with a location of over ₹6,000 crore, is already functional. This quantum computing mission will seed, nurture and scale up scientific and industrial research and development and create a vibrant and innovative ecosystem in quantum technology. It is one such instance. There are many more, like green hydrogen mission, and we have our friend from Airtel. Commercialization of 6G is to take place from 2025 to 2030 and the like. It seems, and we can feel it, we are at the threshold of equivalent of another industrial revolution. The world is grappling with the speed, scale, complexity and transformative power of these technologies. Now science fictions are fast taking shape of science facts in our own lifetime. And technology fusion now is the main driver. Historically, technological innovations have been considered as the main drivers for sustainable economic development and geometric productivity growth. Now the new breed, disruptive technologies, is required to be harnessed for substantial role in wealth creation and social political stability. These technologies, my friends, have potential to cause broader societal transformation by changing the existing economic sectors, tenets of work, production and consumption. It lies, friends, in your domain. Those who are here and connected with your domain, it lies in your domain to harness these technologies and convert challenges into opportunities. One thing that immediately comes to my mind, and which is your concern primarily, building skills into the workforce of industry is imperative. There is a dire need to identify and develop the disciplines and the required mission abilities in order to build suitable skills into the workforce of industry. By doing that, you will be helping talent, youth talent, in a particular direction. You will break the silos where our youth are obsessed only with competition. They are robotizing themselves to participate in competitions, unaware of the opportunities that are available to them. People here and people like you know all about it. You can be a game changer by reaching out to them. Friends, when it comes to our Bharat, one needs to step out of bubble. Some people are in the bubble. The number is small, They are in the country and outside. They need to come out of that bubble to experience the environment of hope and possibility, the exponential growth, and feel the unstoppable upsurge in Bharat, home to 1/6 of humanity and world's most vibrant functional democracy at all levels, constitutionally structured. India has more promise, said one of the icons, current icons. It has more promise than any large country in the world. The good thing is, there was no caveat on this. It was considered. That is our Bharat. Last few years have seen a period of epochal change for Bharat. That is for all of us to see. It's a ground reality. India is very much fast moving towards becoming a global superpower. Its rise is phenomenal and unstoppable. The trajectory is incremental. Friends, our Bharat today is fastest growing major economy, the fastest growing major stock market, the world's fastest growing startup ecosystem, the fastest growing real estate market. And look at our demographic dividend. We are the most populous nation in the world. And we have converted our population, which in 60s and 70s was a liability, into our growth mechanism for the affirmative aspects. Friends, look at the current scenario. For development of the nation, on one hand, we are delving deep into the sea to make most of blue economy. On land, we are scratching beyond the surface. And in the sky and space, we are soaring high. Not to mention of success of Chandrayaan-3, the space day on August 23, 2023. That is a lesson to us, because Chandrayaan-2 in September 2019, when I was Governor State of West Bengal, the landing was to be little after 2 a.m. I, along with my wife, was at Science City in the company of 500 students, boys and girls. Chandrayaan-2 came very close to the lunar surface. The landing was not as expected. The success was more than 90%. But we have skeptics that had different kind of points of view. It was Chandrayaan-2's success, majorly, more than 90%, that accounted for success of Chandrayaan-3. And that is a lesson to one and all. There is nothing like failure in life. The greatest failure is when you don't try. The greatest failure is you have a brilliant idea in your mind. You keep on parking it here for fear of failure. People here and people like you, the nation looks up to you. You have to be trailblazers. I had the good fortune to give award to two of them, both youngsters. Their mission, passion, execution was writ large in their body language. Friends, there is no doubt, as a nation, we are in full preparedness to emerge as a future global superpower and a global leader. This is writing on the wall. Some think otherwise. It takes time to realize ground reality. But this is a factual situation, well premised, recognized globally by those concerned. Affirmative governance policies and initiatives have enhanced opportunity basket enabling industry to focus on this space of activity. As captains of industry and workforce, you have jointly contributed magnificently, significantly to that change and shaped the future of our country. I urge each one of you to recognize your pivotal role, and you need to play that role in shaping the next generation of leaders. Your mentorship with experience and exposure, talent and intellect, your mentorship, guidance and unwavering support are indispensable in nurturing the talent of young dynamic individuals and preparing them to assume leadership roles in their own right. I earnestly call upon you, appeal to you, please handhold them. A first generation entrepreneur is no longer required to knock the doors of governance, but he has tough time entering your club. He has to negotiate a difficult psyche to be part of you. As real leaders, leading leaders in industry, trade, business and commerce, please handhold them. Maybe you are in big league. Maybe your father was in big league. Maybe your grandfather was in big league. But your great-grandfather was like them. Handhold them. Collective wisdom of Indian industry has potential to avail the great benefits of technology and new vistas of opportunities, and its role is critical in India's marathon march to Viksit Bharat at 2047 to mark centenary of our independence. Even if some may not live to see that finish line, I would not be there. Let's dedicate ourselves to enjoying the journey and contributing to its grand success. Ladies and gentlemen, in recent years, India has, in the wake of severe headwinds, a democratic kind of governance, a democratic way of life, a democratic mechanism has inbuilt headwind. But there are other headwinds also. In recent years, we had headwinds, national and global. In the face of that, the nation has successfully traversed the extremely challenging terrain from being a member of fragile 5 countries in the world just a decade ago to be the 5th largest global economy on the planet, and on way to becoming the 3rd largest, in the process overtaking Canada, UK, France, and in 2 or 3 years, Germany and Japan. Friends, I was elected to Parliament, I said, in 89. In 1991, size of our economy, mark my words, was smaller than that of cities like London and Paris. Just imagine what a long distance we have traveled. Everything is there to make us proud and take pride in this kind of achievement. Friends, look at our foreign exchange balance. I was member of Council of Ministers. Gold of this country had to be physically airlifted to be placed to 2 Swiss banks to sustain our financial credibility. And where we have come now? Our foreign exchange is in excess of over $600 billion, and certainly not a cause of concern. Friends, the world sees this land as land of hope and possibility. land of investment and opportunity, a favorite destination for those who seek to realize their ambitions. This was never the scenario. It is now. The IMF, the World Bank, the World Economic Forum. I'm citing them not because I can't make my point without them, but we are still in a groove that we look up to calibration by others, what they say. But even these bodies that were counseling concern for us few years back are now showering accolades on us. For what? Our economic growth, digitization penetration, well premised, well deserved, and well earned. No country in the world can boast of such a powerful digitization. Persuading a global entity, the World Bank, to reflect during G20 presidency of Bharat that what this country has achieved in 6 years is not achievable in normal sense in about 4 or 5 decades. What a compliment. But ground reality is as such. Look at in a country where farmers, more than 100 million can receive thrice a year, direct transfer. What greater demonstration of accountable, transparent governance we can look for? That is where we are at the moment. Friends, pyramidal growth never does justice to democracy. Our constitutional ornament is equitable growth. India has emerged as a leading nation even in this sector. Equitable development, transparent and accountable governance, and zero accommodation for corruption are new norms. Adoption of technology, digitization, direct transfer and the like have contributed to decimation of corruption. This ecosystem fairly allows all to exploit their talent. Now meritocracy prevails over anything else. Concept of aspirational districts, you can appreciate it. The backward districts. No bureaucrat wanted to be positioned there as district magistrate or SP or any other functionary. Concept of aspirational districts, smart cities and vibrant villages define governance direction and futuristic outlook. Our urban centers have experienced remarkable progress and growth as development has touched lives in all corners of the country. The development is plateau kind. Everything is rising. In this growth trajectory, people before me, the most prime category of wealth creators in the nation, employment creators, motivating factors, you have a great role to play because there is potential for further advancement in rural areas. If you will embrace this opportunity for development, you will not only foster inclusivity, but also bring about a more equitable distribution of resources and opportunities across the nation. Eminent individuals of the industry and professionals, such as yourselves, have a pivotal role to play as partners in further enhancing this trend of equitable growth. Others can help. You will have to be the prime movers. The government only come in aid of you. And the moment industry associations, commerce associations, business associations, trade associations so decide, the growth will not be arithmetic, it will be geometric. Your insights, expertise and vision are invaluable assets. And the world has recognized, mark my words, Indian human genius is part of every big global entity. Our human resource is dominating, and that domination is ethical, low profile, seamless, far from being arrogant. In such a situation, I call upon you to shape the trajectory of our nation also. Contribute to it. Your partnership in governance can be transformational, transcending barriers and differences to build a brighter, more inclusive future for all. Each one of us, in our respective capacities, all included, has a responsibility to give back to the society. Corporate social responsibility is much beyond a legal obligation. It is morally imperative. It is a powerful tool for social change. Industry is by and large gainfully channelizing it. I admire it. But I have a suggestion. If the top people in industry converge to an idea, pool only part of the CSR, there can be more than one institute of global standards coming up in this country. And over a decade, such institutions encompassing various fields of human activity, health, education, science, defense, and the like, will be dotted in every geographical part of the nation. I hope and believe captains of industry will be persuaded to sit across and deliberate this suggestion. They are bound to be on the same page. The fiscal requirement for a great institute can be easily met by part of the CSR. And you have talent, capacity to empower these institutions managerially, academically, and otherwise. So there is no reason why we will not have world-class institutions. In isolation and individually, captains of industry are contributing. I applaud that. But if they structure it, that only part of CSR will be available to this particular job, the results, let me tell you, will be very soothing. Look around the world, you know it more than I do. In developed nations, research and development is driven by industry. Educational institutions are sustained by them. Even our own industries have made great contributions in financial terms to foreign universities. Amount ranging up to $50 million at one point of time. I appreciate that. I'm not a critic of that. But now, our youth look up for opportunities, skill development that is need of the hour. Skill development can take place only when you have institutions in that category that can empower skills. I am sure this will come about. I have no doubt that our industry will do it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is said that management is about doing things right. Leadership is about doing right things. But more importantly, there is also a caveat which says quality of leadership is reflected in the standards leaders set for themselves. India is a happy country. We have captains of industry by dozens who have set highest standards in public life, ethical standards, commitment to society. And therefore, there is no reason why we shall not be catalyzing the big change. I'll make an appeal. I can make that appeal only here because you are the most vital stakeholders to take note of that appeal. And that is time for us to pitch for economic nationalism and pledge to use locally manufactured products as it conserves precious foreign exchange in billions of dollars, apart from boosting employment and entrepreneurship. Avoidable imports, and look at the items we import. And look at the premise on which we import, fiscal gain. In the process, what we lose? Precious foreign exchange, job for millions, impede blossoming of entrepreneurship. You can do it. You can take a call on this. This will be a very rewarding experience for this nation. No fiduciary gain can be a legitimate premise to compromise nationalism, economic nationalism. I urge you to please bestow attention on this very important aspect. Friends, similar scenario, and you are aware of it, is export of raw materials without value addition. When we export our mineral wealth, when we export raw material without value addition, we are in a sense declaring to ourselves we are not capable of value addition. And then the three things I indicated for avoidable imports apply here also. This again is your concern. Friends, I am coming close to the end of my so-called discourse. So bear with me, because normally you don't get an audience of this kind, a thinking audience, discerning audience, an audience that can take decisions, an audience that can make immediate difference, an audience that can give direction for the welfare of 1.4 billion people. But I am coming to the end of it. Let us remember that with unprecedented rise of our nation comes even greater responsibility for us all. There are people here who know more than I do. Our rise is indigestible in some quarters. That is but natural. But as a nation, we have to rise. We have to believe in our nation. It is not optional. It's the only way of belief. We have to be proud Indians. We have to take pride in our exponential growth, which the world is admiring. Since you are leaders, influencers in every walk of life, I urge you to embrace this responsibility wholeheartedly and commit yourselves to noble cause of nation building. Together, let us strive to leave behind a legacy of progress, compassion, and unity. I am sure these awards will inspire others to emulate the commitment, dedication, zeal, mission of the awardees. Their spirit and vision will fire young minds. A new hope will be generated when they will come to know how these awards have been given to institutions and individuals. I wish everyone here and outside success in your future endeavors. And I need to reiterate, thank you so much for your time, patience.